So let's get started in 3, 2, 1, go. Alright everyone, welcome back. This is Railcoon with Prodigy alongside here for iCCup Television. Thank you for tuning in to our coverage of the Bomber White Rock Showmatch. This is of course the first series that is somewhat incomplete because some of the replays did wind up getting lost, but we wanted to show you the games that we had as just sort of some bonus footage. So in this series, Bomber is up 1-0. In the complete series that we just finished covering, Bomber won 4-0. And the players, since they did kind of mess up on the replays, agreed to split the prize pool evenly between the two series. So right now, Bomber's sitting at $75. Could walk away with a little bit more. White Rock could walk away with a little bit of money himself. But we see that White Rock's going to be the red Protoss in the bottom left-hand portion of Testbogu. And Bomber's going to be the green Terran in the top left. And what is just saying is, so one thing to note that the Startail guys very widely said that out of the large variety of maps that we had in the iCCup map series where we invited Startail to play a tournament, they said that Testbug was their favorite. And they really liked the size and the layout and the fact that it's possible to make a comeback. In the first series that we wound up seeing here, Bomber actually got really far behind and did make a very nice comeback. So we'll see how this will play out here on Testbug. Bomber with a little bit more experience on this map, but the players did stop and check out these maps beforehand, so or has had a chance to look around this map in game and think about some strategies.
Yeah, one of the things that I want to point out about this map is for those of you who are going to be tuning into MLG this weekend, Testbug is in the MLG map pool. One of the first really big events, really big offline events to start supporting the iCCup map making team. I want to give a little bit of a shout out to them, as I'm absolutely ecstatic to see some of the iCCup maps making it into the big leagues. And what we're going to be giving a little bit of a preview of what you might be able to see this weekend on MLG here. But this is, of course, a pretty interesting show match in its own right. Going to see a Cybernetics core going down right now. Pretty standard openings out of both of these players, of course. Testbug kind of lends itself to doing pretty much whatever you want, except for, of course, trying to expand to the gold base at the start of the game, because it is blocked by destructible rocks. But pretty much any other strategy will work on this map if you can read into the builds and
you can't take your close watchtower the first thing in the game either, because of these destructible rocks that are right on top of it. It's one of the really cool features of this map, dropping the destructible rocks directly on top of this watchtower. So we've got the one in the center, and it is choked off just a little bit, but if you want more range of vision, you have to break these rocks. And another thing, if you see these little line of rocks here, it actually shows the vision of this watchtower into your natural. So if you're concerned about your opponent taking that watchtower and you don't want to show anything, build behind the rocks. It's actually a really nice feature that Super U-Man put into his map here.
Yeah, so Expansion Command Center right now on the way for Bomber. Still hasn't added on a tech lab or pretty much any actual gas units or structures yet. Meanwhile, back at the base of White Rise, got a Zealot and a Stalker out right now. Is going to be producing another Stalker and getting an expansion up of his own, it looks like, in just a few seconds here as he nears that 400 mineral mark. So a pretty economic opening out of both of these players so far. And we're going to have to see if this game really goes into a really macro-oriented game, or if one of these players just kind of dies to a two-base timing attack.
Yeah, and that's going to be the big question with both of them fast expanding here. If one of them does follow this up with the timing, it can be quite deadly. White Rock actually playing this quite risky, going one-gate Nexus Robo. Going for the fast expansion and teching at the same time does make you quite vulnerable to a timing. If we look on the other side of the field, Bomber did go for the expansion into a quick 3-rack, so he's playing this quite a bit more safely. And that does actually open up a relatively large window for him. If he gets these tech labs up, gets stim and concussive shells, he can walk in with some Marines and Marauders and possibly catch White Rock before this robotics facility pays off. And it's just sort of the same thing as a Terran who fast expands into a factory. It's just a little bit risky, but if you can get away with it, it puts you in a really nice situation.
Yeah, so both the players just kind of bouncing around the map right now, trying to control their particular corners of the map, just trying to deny any information from one another so that they can continue on whatever tech pass they're choosing safely. Observer is just about complete for White and he will be able to get that Observer into the main base of Bomber and see exactly what he's doing. And right now we do see Bomber's just researching stim and concussive shells as he's got this expansion up, so I think he's just waiting for his economy to really hit the point where his macro starts to explode. He's going to add on a ton of production facilities and just start making a ton of units, and then maybe start applying a little bit of pressure to White Raw. Meanwhile, White Raw, as the word again starts becoming crucially hard to say, I had to be careful there not to go Elmer Fudd on that one, is going to be adding a robotics facility, and that will get, or robotics bay, I should say, and that will get caught by the scan, and that will trigger Bomber to move out to try and catch him before any Colossus come out on the field.
Yeah, he actually scouted that, seeing that quick expansion. I don't know.
I think he saw the Sentry with only 50 energy, so he knows there's no force fields yet for him to go up against either.
But even without that knowledge, he's got a pretty solid knowledge that this is a really nice timing for him with the fast expansion and the quick Colossus. There just aren't that many gateway units. Great force fields there by White Raw. That's pretty much all he has. Great micro from Bomber, though. You see that kiting with the Marauders. He is going to be able to overpower all these Zealots. Stalkers falling down afterwards. He is stimming quite a lot, but he's microing very well, focusing down this Zealot while it's warping in and taking out quite a few of these probes. White Raw is forced to start an Immortal, even though his robotics bay is done, because he just needs to not die first. But Bomber's still up in his face, doing damage, taking out pylons. Probe count for White Raw is down to 30 versus 41, so even if he does clear this out, he is going to be quite a bit behind. So great job by Bomber with that scan, seeing that White Raw was teching very aggressively and just going for it with his 3-Rax Marine Marauder. Oh no, the Mortal's going to get focused down. One more shot! Oh! Oh, and he gets the Stalker too, and this one Marauder's going to get away with 3 health. What a troll! And the reinforcements are going to come in and continue to take out units here. This micro by Bomber is insane, playing keep away with these Zealots and focusing down these Stalkers. And every time he looks like he's in trouble, more Marauders come in to reinforce. He's actually still applying the pressure when it looks like he was going to have to be forced back. And that means White Raw actually GG's 10 minutes in. Holy check, that micro from Bomber.
I mean, right when that Immortal came out, there was, like, in that natural expansion, there's not a lot of space, and there were about 2 Zealots and maybe, like, I think it was, like, 2 Marauders and a Marine there, and he was kiting the Zealots around, and there was literally, like, an inch of space for the Zealot to try and slash before Bomber actually pulled those Marauders away, and he managed just to kite the Zealots around and take out that Immortal in that tiny amount of space, and that's just so insanely hard to do, and to do as successfully as Bomber did there. I mean, that was just insane. My brain is melted by that.
Yeah, the one thing that people don't realize is that micro that Bomber was doing is so skill intensive. Just a couple misclicks and you'll die horribly to the Zealots. It's actually much harder than it looks. He's allowing his Marauders to take the damage over the Marines while still keeping away from the Zealots, focus firing the Stalkers, while constantly kiting and slowing those Zealots. It's so difficult to do over such a long time frame like that, because that attack took, if we rewind this a bit, you can see that attack took place over a good, 2 minutes. So he was consistently microing that well for 2 minutes straight. Like, are you serious? That is so insanely hard to do. And that's going to put him 2-0 in this particular best of 7. And, oh my god, Bomber, why are you so good? But, on that note, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back with Kingdom 3 in just a moment.